Creative Katie, Karen Burchill here, and it is time for another Index Card a Day 2017. We are on card 41, and I am off prompt. I'm doing a C1. Links to any supplies will be in the description box. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and select the option to be notified of upcoming videos. So I am playing once again with my Distress Oxides. I am determined to discover whether they have a place in my mixed media art. So I was watching a video, and I'm not sure if she was using the oxides or just Distress ink, but she put the ink through the stencil and then covered it with gloss gel. Now I don't have gloss gel, so I'm going to use matte gel. So I'm using a combination of the oxides, you can see the 5 that I have there, and the regular Distress inks that I have. So I'm just putting green, and then I'm adding a little bit of brown onto that, just to give it some interest. I don't want anything just one tone, just is way too flat. So this stencil, I believe, was a dollar store find. My friend Yvonne gifted this to me, and it's the first time that it is getting utilized, so that's great. Now you can see that it automatically reactivates the ink, and you get color into that. So it dries clear afterwards, and it's quite bright and lovely right now, and I'm really quite happy with the effect. It's also got some texture, and I'm doing it bit by bit and drying in between so I don't make a mess of what I've previously done. So I'm thinking I may add more, but for right now I am going to move forward and do the seahorse. Just taping this down a little bit because I don't want the stencil to move. And for the cost of a little bit of painter's tape, it's a good peace of mind. So this time I am using my Distress ink, and this is Fired Brick, I believe. And it goes on lovely. It's so opaque compared to the regular Distress inks. I can tell the difference. Now I realized with the other one I didn't dry the ink before, so I go to drying it, and you can see that little eyeball or curl just bent up. Yeah, plastic stencil, not a good idea. It did seem to activate much quicker than the regular Distress inks. So then I'm giving it a quick dry, and you can see the gel medium, while it starts off kind of a milky white color, it does dry clear. It gives texture, and it is a matte finish. Now I'm really happy with this, and I'm taking a paintbrush to it and trying to activate it, and I'm thinking, okay, great, this does not activate, so everything should work. So I have two of the colors, Faded Jeans and Broken China, and I'm putting it on. And I wish I had kind of left it more at this stage. There's going to be a lot of wishes. I think having that right there is where I should have stopped. But I didn't. For some reason, I'm so afraid of that white space. It just needs to color it in. So again, I'm going in and drawing it in between. And then I decide, I got to get rid of every little last white space. And in doing so, I think I got rid of some of the interest that was there. Some of the thing that is just special to the smooshing technique and Distress inks. Now you can see that the ink is on top of the seahorse, and it's colored there. But I'm not too worried because I'm thinking, that gel medium should act as a resist, right? Keep watching. So then I'm missing what I had before, so I'm trying to recreate that. And I go in with one color and then another color. And I wish I could have stopped here, but I didn't. I find if I spread it out on the craft mat, I can get more bubbles instead of a solid piece. And I'm wishing that I would have stopped it here. Are you catching on? There were so many times and places that I could have stopped, and I would have been, I think, happier with the result than where it ended up. But this is about learning how to use Distress inks. So, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. I learned a lot during this video. This adding the purple here, mistake. Complete and total error. I'm still under the impression that I'll be able to very easily get rid of all that paint that's on top of the seahorse and the seaweed. And I'm using other ICADs to mop up leftover ink. Don't like the purple, so I'm adding more blue. Now I never ended up with mud. Of course I'm using an Aglas color, so the risk of, getting mud was very slim. But it was just too much. I needed to edit myself. So here I go in and I start trying to take this off. And it's not exactly working as I thought. Okay, I'm going to try a baby wipe. Maybe it's just a little bit better. It's not taking the Distress ink off. It's sealed, but I just couldn't seem to scrub it off. And I was afraid of messing up the background that I kept kind of figuring out. Now looking at this now, I'm thinking, actually it doesn't look so bad. Don't like the background, so I decide, hey, you know what, Karen, just spritz it with water, let it all mix up together, and then see what you get, and then go from there. And I liked it better before. Would have, could have, should have. The color of the seahorse here is way more vibrant than in real life. In real life, I don't know if it continued to oxidize as it dried under the gel medium or what. So I want to use the removing of or activating the oxides with a wet by spraying a stencil. So I kind of got rid of the border lines and then I press it on and hold it. Now as you see, didn't really do much. Don't know if it was because I didn't have enough water on the stencil, or maybe I've activated the ink already and it's oxidized and it's not going to do it further. So I'm going in with the blue, the faded jeans, and the broken china. Get a nice coat there. It hasn't been sprayed. It hasn't been activated to do its oxidization kind of trick. Put a little more water on the stencil. Hold it in place for a while. And then remove it. And there's the effect that I wanted. And there's my battle trying to get that seahorse back. So instead of trying to scrub, I guess I could have put the stencil on and scrubbed. That may have been a little easier. But I decided, you know what, I'm just going to reapply some Distress ink right on top of that gel medium. And that's what I did. And that's what I'm doing here. Just brightening those colors. The background's really faded. I'm struggling with that faded, distressed, oxidized kind of look. And I know that's a feature of them, but it's so not my go-to. So I'm happy now that I've got a little bit brighter colors somewhere on this page. I'll put a link to the stencil that I used to oxidize the background. Kind of touching it up. It looks really vibrant here, and as I look across the room at it, it is not. So, and I didn't spray water on it afterwards, so I'm not sure if it just, I understood that the oxides would be bright and vibrant if you didn't put water on them. So there I'm off camera, but I am stenciling some starfish in the seaweed as well, just with some Distress ink, and I'm using purple because here, Qualicum Beach and Parksville area on Vancouver Island, those were the starfish we saw. They were purple. So this looks really good. You know it's coming, and I should have left it here, but I didn't. I decide that I am going to splatter. Of course, if you splatter, it will oxidize a little more, and so especially the splatters that fall on the seahorse, they oxidize those spots. So I'm adding moisture where I didn't really want to. If I was going to do this one again, I would do it very different. I think I would do the background first, because with the oxide inks you can put them on top because they're not transparent or translucent. I'm not sure which term I should be using there. Get the background really nice, put the seahorse on and the other parts. Leave it like the very beginning, where that very splotchy, smooshed kind of look. I should actually redo this right now while I have this in my mind. That's one of the advantages of doing the videos. You can look back and see exactly what you did and what you shouldn't have done. So I'm looking at this and decide to start looking through my box of quotes there. And I find one, well, it's part of the quote, and I'm just using this part, make waves. And then I decided, you know, I have these little sea turtles. You saw them a couple times ago. I have a bigger one who still might show up, another one. But these ones are just like tiny little heads. And I thought, you know what? They'd actually look quite cute here. They'd add a little bit more color to this, which I feel I'm really missing. And, you know, they definitely fit. They're not exactly to scale with the size of the seahorse, but you know what? Artistic license. And I'm putting the gel medium on the back of the things that I'm gluing because I do not want to put it right onto the background because it will activate. And grab a pen to darken the letters, discover that it's a little too thick, so I end up grabbing another one. Before I make a mess. So if you're like me and you try a technique and it doesn't exactly produce the results you thought it should or could, you know, don't give up. Try it again and see. You know, give it a couple tries before you give up, because sometimes, you know, there is a learning curve. And if I can do it straight on camera and make all these mistakes and freely admit them, you can do it too. Thank you for watching, and there are some close-ups. I really do like the mixture of the magazine ones with the more detail and then the stencil. I like that effect, and that's something I might use again, part collage, part stencil. The background is interesting. I like the texture that that I have on the seahorse and the seaweed. Some of it's textured, some of it's not. I like that as well, that combination. Makes it that much more interesting. Bye for now.